Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. This week I wanted to talk about me being an artist and just this year in review and like what am I even doing anymore? What am I interested in? Do I still like art and all of this stuff? And I talked a little bit about like how I got off balance in my schedule and posting and my art in general and how I felt a bit burnt out. And honestly, I thought that I had felt a bit better, but then I got obsessed with knitting, and it's really weird because my obsession with knitting has kind of become what feels like a money hole because I had to buy all the needles and then I felt like those weren't the right needles and then I had to buy more needles, and now I'm thinking about buying a different set of interchangeable needles so that I can work better with the projects that I want to do. But the thing is, like, I've only ever finished one project and it was a fail because it was originally meant to be a scarf, but I didn't have enough yarn, which led me to buying a bunch of yarn that is coming from like Denmark or something, because the website I thought was based closer but actually isn't, and tariffs and everything made the price really high, so I ended up spending a lot of money on that, and I haven't actually finished a project. I wanted to try and make these socks, and so in order to make the socks you have to knit in a round, and it's a new skill that is similar to crocheting in like a magic circle or something, but for some reason the cords seem to be too long or the needles seem to be too small, and it's been quite a money hole, as I said. So I feel right now that because I can't finish the knitting project, I'm kind of scatterbrained and not able to really focus in on art, but also I haven't really been able to focus in on art or make anything in a long time. Like, despite me having all of these ideas, I don't really feel that push or passion to pick up my pencil and draw in my sketchbook. And it really sucks because I think there's like this enthusiasm and this life and joy that art brings into my life, and like all my forms of creativity bring into my life. And I've dealt with this before and I've always felt it was more passing, but I think the compounded effort of feeling like my content is not being seen has really kind of made it hard for me to think about who I am as an artist and what I have to offer the world. And so I've kind of been questioning myself and thinking, like, you know, why am I an artist? Why do I create art? Why do I share my art? Why do I make these YouTube videos? And what am I wanting to do for my profession and for my future that is going to be something viable and sustainable and won't keep me in this position that I'm in now, where I kind of feel stuck. I think it's interesting in life when this sort of disinterest happens in such a widespread and almost tunnel vision way, where it kind of feels like it's the end of everything. It happens a lot to me, honestly, and it happens with every single one of my interests. It's happened with music for a long time, and I slowly and kind of get back into it, and it doesn't feel as like end of the world feeling when it comes to that. But it's also because I don't create any content regarding my music, and so as somebody who creates content regarding my art, and I was trying to pick up doing reels and then also do long form content, I noticed something that kind of felt like it was a hole or a trap to do both of them, because it felt like it was taking away views from my long form videos. Now, I don't really know if that's true or it's just some sort of perception thing, or it's coming off in a weird way because I've been taking breaks between my long form content, but it kind of felt like it was a detriment to post shorts. Anyway, the less people that interact with my content, the more I am emboldened to ask myself, do I want to go back to this? And you know, why do I do it? And there was a moment in the past where I had quit posting, but it was because I had felt like outside forces were kind of telling me, you know, this is a dead end. And it's coming to that point again, but it kind of feels different this time because of the way I'm unmotivated to create. Anyway, so the question of, you know, why do I post, or why have I been doing this? I watched this video that kind of really had sort of a negative outlook on the art community. It was simply about one sector of it, but it felt like the person who made the video kind of thought that about the whole art community. And it was about being money motivated, or, you know, everything being ads. And I had thought about the fact that one of the things I really wanted to do was to, like, one of the things I have in the works that I'm hoping to fulfill is having a giveaway that kind of is in partnership with a company. And one thing that was really important to me in 2026 now, rather than 2025, is to get a sponsor or come to some sort of relationship where I get to, you know, make money off of it and sort of make this a viable thing, rather than just continuing to create content year after year after year with nothing to show for it. I don't think that this is nothing to show for it, really. I'm so happy. I think this year is the year that I got to 1,000 subscribers, and it's something that I've been wanting for a long time, and I didn't even know was possible, and so I'm internally grateful for that. And it was a lot. I think I cried. I was really happy because there's been other times where it kind of feels like dead end and sluggish, and like I'm not going to be able to make anything of myself as an artist. And so it really felt like hope for me, and like it was a push to keep going. I don't have that now, not only considering the views on my last videos, but also it's just I didn't know like who wanted to see, who wanted my content and everything. Because when I thought about it, I'm like, you know, what am I offering as an artist? What do I do? Do I do anything that's unique and different? And no, I don't have to be completely in a lane of my own, because it's kind of impossible to be. And no, I don't have to completely be different. But in making my videos and sharing them with the world, does anybody gain anything from that? Is this purely for me? Because if this is purely for me and I'm feeling disconnected from it, then maybe it's not for me anymore, you know? And I didn't want that to be true, and I don't want that to be true, because I do have a lot of ideas still, and I really do like creating. But it's also like the part of me that wants to do the partnership. If I have nothing to offer you in terms of views or anything, then like it's kind of fruitless, no? Like I wouldn't be doing this service to you that I had promised and I had hoped, you know? And so that part was also really troubling to me when I'm looking at the dwindling views. But I really want to get back to where I used to be and be on top of everything. And I want to create a lot more, because I do have all these ideas, and I have this list of things to draw, and I have the supplies, and I spent the money, and I continue to spend the money, you know? And it's almost like I'm shadowboxing fate in a way. But I don't know the outcome that fate wants, you know? And I know what I'm fighting for, but I don't know what fate is fighting for. Like, what is the direction that I'm meant to take? And it's weird because I don't know, like in my religion, this is a weird tangent, but I don't know, like fate and free will kind of go hand in hand, and so I am like more of a believer in fate than free will, even though everyone will say you have free will. I am like a universe karmic, whatever the words are. I really like think about that and believe in that a lot. And so while I might feel as though I'm destined to do something creative, it really may not be in the cards. And I've always thought about like, should I get a reading, or should I, you know, like try to look into what my life is planned to be, and even if it's fake, just to give me some direction or a guide or something, so I can like kind of push forward and get out of this funk, you know? And so looking back at this year, I really didn't create or do anything that I wanted to. I know there was other years where I had goals in mind, where I was like, I'm gonna create a bunch of pieces and I'm gonna try to do all this, because while I may not want to be a gallery artist or anything, I do still want to have that sort of art out there and have a portfolio and everything, like even if it's with character design focused. But I really like disconnected from everything, like my original characters, and even attempting to make any art pieces really. And it's hard to also look back at anything because I lost my Procreate gallery. So that like makes it so hard to see anything I worked on this year. I know I've done a lot in terms of like making videos, but because I've also slowed down on that, it definitely feels like this year was so taxing and I produced the least. And honestly, this year has been full of a lot of loss. Yeah, like it's crazy how many people I know this year like passed on. And so there is this kind of mortality or that I'm reminded of, and I don't really think about legacy a lot or anything, but I do think about the sum of my life. Like, I'm not thinking about what I'm leaving behind for whoever or whatever, but I am thinking about the sum of my life and what I've done and all the steps I didn't take and all the steps I've taken, and what does it mean for me to be an artist anymore? You know? What does it mean for me to be a creative? And I never thought I was an artist who was ever making anything meaningful or deep or anything like that. I kind of just create for fun. I don't even really do vent art or anything like that. It's kind of just what comes to my mind, what seems interesting and compelling. And there is this sort of loneliness or tortured vibes that artists always seem to have, but it feels more extreme now because of sharing online and feeling like, well, I do have to be interested in what other people are interested in, hence fan art and stuff. But at the same time, when I make this stuff, are people even interested in it? Because it's not a guarantee. And yeah, there's this like going back and forth with myself about that. Like, should I continue?